welcome to a creative writing session for people who want to try using words to express their thoughts and emotions, for people who would like a prompt to get them writing, for people who think creative writing might help them improve their sense of well-being. I'm Dr Clare Scott. I am a writer and also I work therapeutically. I use words and other expressive arts to help people get in touch with their emotions and process whatever it is they need to work on. I'm going to give you a short exercise to get you started, and then after that there'll be various opportunities during the session to write from different sorts of prompts. For this series I'm using the 5 senses. Today's session is hearing. Find a notebook and a pen and a comfortable place to write. Pencil will do. Remember, there's no having to get it right. It's about enjoying yourself and just exploring this medium. Let's begin sitting comfortably with both feet on the ground. Do a little bit of breathing to settle ourselves down. Breathe deeply down to your stomach. Hold and release your breath slowly. Now I'm going to ask you to count. Breathe in to 4, hold to 4, breathe out to 4, hold to 4. So breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, and again, breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. Now we're ready to start. First of all, I'd like you to think about sounds, and quickly, with your pen ready, pencil, whatever it is you're going to write with, quickly list 5 sounds you like and 5 sounds you don't like. Well, I've done mine. Hope you're finishing yours now. Earlier, I recorded 3 minutes of birdsong. We're going to sit and listen first to those 3 minutes. Just want you to listen and watch your thoughts as they arise to the sound. And then I'm going to play it again and ask you to write for that 3 minutes. So now you've listened for 3 minutes. I do hope you enjoyed those sounds. Get your pen and I'm going to play the clip again, and I'd like you to write for 3 minutes with those sounds, and you've got the same scene, but it's really the sounds that I want you to concentrate on and see what it makes you think of. I wonder how you found that. Did you find yourself surprised at how much you'd written, or did you find yourself surprised that it was hardly felt like any time at all to write? I know that when I first listened to the bird song, I had to think to myself, my goodness, this feels like a really long period of time. It felt like an hour sometimes feels. But just now when I was writing, that didn't feel like any time at all. I'd also wonder how what you wrote for your list of likes and dislikes compares with what you wrote after the bird song. And in terms of my likes and dislikes, I wrote very much about my personal life and the people in my life. Some of the sounds I like are the sounds of children, particular children in my family, laughing and saying hello and singing. And then when I was writing about the bird song, I found myself writing much more about our times and historical events and the constancy of the wood and the lives of the animals and the birds by comparison with the human lives. That's what I wrote about. I wonder what you chose to write about. Now we're going to think about ways of writing, and I want to give you an example of part of a poem by someone called Minnie Bruce Pratt. I found the poem in the Poetry Foundation online, poetryfoundation.org, and I liked the idea of a single sound, and this is going to be of significance in the poem. So there's a sound of a fork on a plate. The poem itself is called The Sound of One Fork. I'm going to read you the first 2 verses of the poem, and just to want to prompt your thoughts about some of the things you might want to write about in connection with the sounds. The sound of one fork. Through the window screen I can see an angle of grey roof and the silence that spreads in the branches of the pecan tree as the sun goes down. I am waiting for a lover. I am alone in a solitude that vibrates like the cicada in hot mid-morning, that waits like the lobed sassafras leaf just before its dark green turns into red, that waits like the honeybee in the mouth of the purple lobelia. While I wait, I can hear the random clink of one fork against a plate. The woman next door is eating supper alone. She is 60 perhaps, and for many years has eaten by herself the tomatoes, the corn and okra that she grows in her backyard garden. Her small metallic sound persists, as quiet almost as the windless silence, persists like the steady random click of a red bird cracking a few more seeds before the sun gets too low. She does not hurry. She does not linger. And it goes on to talk a bit about what neighbours think of her, and what I wanted you to do was to think about the contrast that she talks about, Minnie, about the silence, and how she talks about how the silence that spreads in the branches of the pecan tree, and then this sound that kind of, to me, in my mind, resonates because it's against that silence of the calm mid-afternoon. And it's the silence of the fork, and what that kind of signifies. Is this woman lonely, or is she happy in her solitude? What do you think? What does the poem suggest? And how Minnie, the poet, has created the atmosphere with the words that she uses when she talks about a solitude that vibrates like the cicada in hot mid-morning and waits like the lobed sassafras leaf just before its dark green turns into red. And then the small metallic sound persists, as quiet almost as the windless silence. So all the ideas that she conveys just through talking a bit about this little sound of her neighbour. It's just an idea of some of the things you might want to think about when you're writing. And the next activity that I'm going to offer you is one where we're going to use some music and a candle. And we're going to need to play the music quite loudly. So I'm going to suggest that if you've got headphones, you don't have to worry about the neighbours, but just consider how you can play it as loudly as possible. It's using Bach music and the lit candle, and you just write for 10 minutes. Although in this particular case, the piece of music I've got only lasts for 9. So 9 minutes will do. It's near enough. Now I'm going to get a candle. I've got a little one in here, and I'm going to light it. And now I'm going to play the Bach, and just write. And I would like you to do the same. I'm about to start the music for us to write for just up to 9 minutes. And while you're writing, I don't want you to think about what you're writing. It's just about writing for that period of time. Whatever comes into your head, you may be surprised what comes up. But also, if you can't think of anything, just write, I can't think of anything. So just whatever comes into your head, just keep writing for up to 9 minutes, okay? So, ready? I'm ready too. Well, I hope you enjoyed doing that. Certainly I was writing away, and I'm sure you can see that my writing isn't very neat. So you don't have to worry about being neat, you don't have to worry about spellings, you don't have to worry about grammar. The important thing is that you just write whatever it is that you're getting in touch with and that you want to say, finding the words. And sometimes the words are not easy, but just a few words, and then later on you can come back to it and make more sense of it. Certainly I came up, to my surprise, with a memory of when my father taught me to decorate. When I was about 12, I wanted a different bedroom. I wanted my bedroom to look differently, and so he taught me everything about decorating. And I had a complicated patterned wallpaper, and I learnt then, because he was a very good teacher and a very thorough person, how to put patterned wallpaper on the wall so that the pieces matched. So that was something that came up for me while I was writing. I wonder what will come up for you, what has come up for you. Well, I hope you enjoyed the previous activity with the Bach and the candle burning. And now we're going to turn to the final activity, which is intended just to give you some prompts for you to go away and write. So we won't sit here and write together. I'm just going to give you some objects, and they'll be there for you to use either all of them as a combination, or maybe one of them will stand out to you and make you think, oh, I want to write about that, or maybe 2 or 3, just depends. So they're here just to get you thinking, just to make you think, oh, I might want to write about this or explore this. So once I've shown you the objects, I will say goodbye and leave you to go away and do that writing on your own. So you can take as much time or as little time as you like. 10 minutes is not a bad amount of time to get you going. So first of all, I'm going to start with this item, which was a bit big to have on the desk. So here we have a drum, handmade drum with some sort of deer skin, some sort of skin stretched across it, and a drum hammer. Maybe that has made you start thinking. And here we have the plate and the fork, just to remind you and think about maybe about that poem that I read you part of earlier. And here I've got a little metal bird, robin redbreast. I don't know if you know what sound robin makes. To my mind, it's a small bird and a very big song. He certainly seems to have a good loud voice, but I guess you could go on the internet and listen if you wanted to hear specifically what he sounds like. And then I've got a crystal glass here, and this is a different sound again. I love the way that rings. And here, it's a little glass jar with some rice in it. It's got the lid on. It's a good shake. And then here is a little Welsh doll, made of brass, and because this video comes to you from West Wales, I thought it was a good one to use. When might this bell be used? Where? How? I've used it sometimes for children who are ill in bed. They wanted to call me if they didn't have their voice. How might you use that bell in a story? And then finally I've got some feathers here, because birds make sounds and we started with birds, so I thought we'd finish with birds. So here I've got a little one. I don't know if you can see, but it's got a real blue hue to it. Or does it just look black to you? It's a magpie feather, I think. And when you look at them, they're white and black. But when you really look at when it's sunny, you can sometimes see that blue sheen. I think that's a beautiful colour. I wonder what sound a magpie makes. I'd have to go online and find out. And this, I think, is a feather from a buzzard. And buzzards are hunters, and they have a cry, and you sometimes hear them high above you. But again, you could go online and look up buzzard and listen to its call. And finally, these 2 feathers. I think these are feathers from Canada geese. ducks. We do sometimes get them calling round here, and that is a sound you sometimes hear when they go up into flight, and you hear the call of the geese. Sometimes you hear ducks too in a similar way, and that can be quite an evocative sound. So again, maybe you want to go online and see if you can hear that sound, if you want to follow that up and write about that. So there are some ideas, some thoughts about sound that you might want to use, and hopefully some prompts to get you to create your own story or poem or bit of prose that you want to write. Totally up to you. Over to you now. And just before I go, I want to tell you that the next session will be about touch. So see you again, and look forward to doing a similar session about touch. I'd very much like to hear how you've got on having participated in this workshop. Please let me know. Leave your comments in the comments section, and I will get back to you. Thank you.